In a significant development, California is set to play a crucial role in the ongoing national struggle for control of the U.S. House of Representatives. On Tuesday, voters will weigh in on a Democratic initiative that has the potential to eliminate up to 5 Republican-held districts. This could hinder former President Donald Trump's efforts to ensure his party maintains its grip on political power in Washington. The results of this election will have far-reaching implications, especially as all eyes turn to the midterm elections in 2026, where Democrats aspire to regain control of the House. Gaining even a mere 3 additional seats would enable them to challenge Trump's influence during the remaining years of his presidency, a time marked by intense partisan conflict surrounding critical issues such as immigration, healthcare, and the country's overall direction. It would be a disaster for us if we lose California, expressed Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom with urgency. The Democratic Party, which currently holds 43 of California's 52 congressional seats, is optimistic about its chance to increase that number to 48, thus greatly enhancing their prospects in the upcoming elections. California has emerged as a pivotal battleground in what is becoming an unprecedented redistricting war, ignited when Republicans in Texas responded to Trump's call to redraw their electoral maps in a manner designed to reinforce Republican dominance. This year, California's Proposition 50 is on the ballot. This proposal seeks to suspend congressional district boundaries that were crafted by an independent commission and replace them with new districts fashioned by the Democratic-controlled state legislature. The newly drawn districts would come into effect for the elections in 2026, 2028, and 2030. These changes aim specifically to weaken the electoral strength of Republican voters, exemplified by one plan that merges conservative rural areas in Northern California with Marin County, known for its progressive leanings, situated just across the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. Spearheaded by Newsom, who is eager to assert his political prowess, potentially eyeing a presidential bid in 2028. This initiative has also gotten the backing of former President Barack Obama. He has publicly urged voters to support the proposition, framing it as a key step in countering Trumpism and its effects. In his campaign for the proposition, Newsom has pushed the idea that this electoral adjustment is a necessary measure against Trump's politics. Republicans are attempting to accumulate enough congressional seats to manipulate future elections and retain unchecked political power for another term. Obama contends in a prominent campaign ad, "You have the power to halt their momentum." Critics of this measure, however, caution that retaliating against one party's tactics with similar strategies from another might not be the right approach. They argue that Californians should reject what they perceive to be a Democratic power grab, regardless of any frustrations regarding Trump's maneuvers in other states run by Republicans. Among the notable detractors is Arnold Schwarzenegger, the famous actor and a former Republican governor, who was instrumental in the formation of the independent commission that California voters ratified in 2008 and 2010. He points out that it seems contradictory to combat Trump by adopting similar tactics. In his view, the proposal threatens to strip power away from the populace. Although the measure initially garnered attention via an array of television advertisements, those opposing it have struggled to secure enough funding in a state with notoriously high media costs. Recent analysis revealed that while proponents have committed over $5 million to various broadcast, cable, and radio ads, opponents had secured minimal airtime. This data does not account for advertisements on popular streaming platforms like Hulu and YouTube, or direct mail efforts. Overall, the expenditure on advertisement has exceeded $100 million, with the vast majority being in favor of the proposition. As the campaign reaches its final stages, Newsom publicly called on supporters to refrain from donating further. Interestingly, Trump has kept a relatively low profile throughout this electoral battle. Despite facing a significant loss in California during his presidential campaigns, he chose to remain mostly disengaged. Nevertheless, he did make a plea for voters to avoid early or mail-in voting just a week before the election. a stance contradicting the advice from many leading Republican figures in the state, who are encouraging prompt ballot submissions. Currently, the national landscape for House districts is dynamic, as Democrats set their sights on potentially flipping 5 seats in California, a move that could counteract the anticipated Republican gains for revamped maps in Texas and a few other states, including Missouri and North Carolina, with possibilities of further seats opening in Ohio. Traditionally, the boundaries of congressional districts are redrawn every 10 years in alignment with population changes identified in the census. However, mid-decade redistrictings are rare unless mandated by a court order due to issues with existing maps. Several GOP-led states, including Florida, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, and Nebraska, are also contemplating new district maps. On the Democratic side, states such as Colorado, Illinois, Maryland, New York, and Virginia are formulating proposals for redistricting, although they face considerable obstacles. In Utah, a court has mandated that new boundaries be established, but it remains uncertain whether these changes will create any favorable conditions for Democratic candidates, as currently all 4 House districts are represented by Republicans. A quick recap of what to expect on election night 2025. The California ballot includes a proposition that could notably alter national politics by flipping 5 Republican-held House seats to Democratic control in the following midterm elections of 2026. Proposition 50 is seen as a direct response to Trump's push for gerrymandering aimed at preserving Republican dominance. The mayorship of New York City is also in contention, where Democratic state legislator and rising socialist figure Zohran Mamdani is garnering attention, creating a divide among the party's progressive and establishment factions. Meanwhile, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, running as an independent, seeks to reclaim his position after stepping down 4 years prior, with Republican Curtis Sliwa aiming to leverage the division to gain ground. An intricate analysis is employed by the Associated Press to determine the outcomes of various races, aiming to clarify whether any trailing candidates can close the gap. This meticulous approach can be explored further in their detailed coverage.